If you're a parent, you know the feeling. That dinner time standoff. You've made a beautiful, healthy meal, and it just sits there, untouched. And you can feel the stress in the room start to climb. Look, picky eating is hands down one of the most common and, let's be honest, frustrating parts of raising kids. But what if it didn't have to be that way? What if you could actually turn those mealtime battles into peaceful, even positive family time? Well, that's exactly what we're going to dive into right now. We're going to unpack some really practical, evidence-based strategies to make that happen. So let's just get real for a second. Does mealtime feel like a war zone, a constant negotiation? Are you just exhausted by the end of it? If you're not in your head right now, I just want you to know you're not alone, not even close. This is something so many of us go through, and it is a completely valid, totally understandable frustration. I mean, does any of this sound familiar? The old, just 2 more bites of chicken and you can have dessert bribe. Or maybe you've become a short order cook, making mac and cheese for one kid and chicken nuggets for another. All while you're secretly worrying, is my child even getting the vitamins they need? And that feeling, that gut punch of frustration when they won't even try the food you worked so hard on? Yeah, these are the exact pain points we're going to solve today. Okay, to really fix this, we have to stop thinking about tips and tricks. We need to zoom out. It's about a whole new philosophy, a complete foundational shift in how we even think about feeding our kids. And the best part? It is backed by a ton of research. This new philosophy has a name. It's called the Satter Division of Responsibility. You might see it called SDOR for short. Now, this isn't some random idea. It was developed by a dietitian and family therapist named Ellen Satter, and it is so respected, so effective, that it's actually endorsed by the Academy of Pediatrics. Its whole job is to create really clear boundaries so we can finally take the conflict and the anxiety out of mealtimes. And here it is. This is the secret sauce. It's all about staying in your lane. So check this out. The parent has 3 jobs. You decide what food is being served. You decide when it's served, dinner's at 6, and you decide where it's served, at the kitchen table. That's your job. The child's job? They get to decide whether they're going to eat the food you provided, and they decide how much they're going to eat. That's it. No more just 1 more bite. You control the menu, they control their body. If you're going to write something down or tattoo it on your arm, this is it. Parents provide, kids decide. This is your new mantra. It's your North Star when you start to feel that old frustration creeping in. You provide the healthy options and the structure. Your kid is in charge of their own appetite. It's a game changer. All right, so the philosophy sounds great, right? But how do you actually make this work? Like for dinner tonight. Let's get into the practical toolkit, the actual strategies you can start using right away to bring some peace back to your table. Okay, strategy number 1 is my absolute favorite, deconstructed meals. This is your secret weapon to stop being a short order cook. So instead of serving a big stir fry where everything is mixed together, you just serve all the different parts separately. It gives your child a huge sense of control, which they love, without you having to make a totally separate meal. And you can do this with pretty much anything. Taco night is perfect for this. Put the meat, cheese, lettuce, everything in its own little bowl. Pasta night? Serve the plain noodles, the sauce, the meatballs, and maybe some veggies on the side. You can do a build-your-own salad bar or a pizza night where everyone adds their own toppings. See, you're still deciding what to serve, but they get to decide whether and how much of each thing goes on their plate. Now, beyond the food itself, how you show up to the table matters a lot. There are 2 huge mindset shifts here. First, you have to model the behavior you want to see. Your kids are watching you like hawks. If you're eating and enjoying a bunch of different foods, they'll notice. And second, please drop the picky eater label. When we label our kids, they tend to live up to it. It can turn what might have been a short phase into their whole identity. And this one is so important for keeping your sanity. So listen to this. Researchers say it can take up to, get this, 20 times of seeing a new food on their plate before a kid might even try it. 20. So when they turn their nose up at the broccoli for the 5th time, it doesn't mean they'll never eat it. It just means you're on exposure number 5. Keep offering it, no pressure. Patience is everything. Okay, let's say you're doing all this, but you feel like you need a more structured approach. Let's talk about an advanced technique that's all about building little bridges from the foods they already love to new ones. It's called food chaining, and it's exactly what it sounds like. You're creating a chain of foods where each link is just a tiny bit different from the one before it. You start with something you know is a win,
a food they love, and you make these super small, gradual changes to the taste or the texture or even the shape to gently lead them to something new.
Here's a classic example: the journey from chicken nuggets to actual roast chicken. You start with their favorite brand from the freezer aisle. Step 2, maybe you try making homemade chicken nuggets, so the texture is a little different. Then maybe you make breaded strips, so the shape is new. And then finally, maybe you offer a tiny piece of unbreaded roast chicken. See how each step is just a small hop, not a giant leap?
Now, to make this work, you have to remember a few key things. This is a marathon, not a sprint, so be patient and keep it positive. And this last one is absolutely crucial. Always, always serve a safe food, something you know they will eat right alongside the new food. This takes away all the pressure, they know they won't go hungry, which makes them way more willing to explore.
Okay, so we've covered a lot, but it's also really important to know that for some kids, picky eating is more than just a phase. And it's okay to recognize when you might need a little more support because there might be something deeper going on.
So sometimes when a child refuses a food, it isn't them being difficult. It's a real, genuine, and sometimes overwhelming reaction to how that food feels or smells or tastes. Maybe the texture of yogurt feels awful in their mouth, or the smell of fish is just too much. This is a sensory issue, not a behavior issue. And for those kids, there are amazing therapies out there, like the SOS approach. SOS stands for Sequential Oral Sensory. It's basically a type of play-based feeding therapy, usually with a specialist, that helps kids get comfortable with food by exploring it with all their senses. And get this, the SOS approach recognizes that there are 32 different steps to eating. And simply letting a new food sit on your plate without freaking out, that's step 1.
So how do you know if you should maybe look for this kind of help? Well, here are some really clear signs. If your child eats fewer than 30 different foods total, if they have really strong negative reactions to certain textures or smells, if mealtimes are causing major stress for the whole family, or most importantly, if you have any concerns at all about their growth or health. If any of that sounds familiar, it's a great idea to chat with your pediatrician or a feeding specialist.
All right, as we start to wrap this up, I want us to zoom all the way out. Because this isn't really about getting through dinner tonight. This is about playing the long game. It's about setting your child up for a healthy relationship with food for their entire life.
So let's just quickly recap the big keys to success. Number 1, patience. Remember that magic number, 20 exposures. Number 2, consistency. Stick to that division of responsibility like glue. Every meal, every day. And number 3, remove all the pressure. The goal is a happy family meal, not a membership in the Clean Plate Club. And this quote from the University of Michigan really says it all, doesn't it? The way we handle this phase right now, it matters a lot. It's not just about today. It's forming the foundation for how they'll think about and interact with food for the rest of their lives. The stakes are pretty high.
So I want to leave you with one final question to think about. What if we just completely changed our definition of success? What if the goal isn't a clean plate? What if the real goal is to raise a child who grows up to be a happy, confident, and competent eater for their entire life? Now that sounds like a victory worth fighting for.